guys? It is Hunter Unit 751 bringing you the first of, hopefully, a few Halo Jumpers top 10 episodes. Just another idea for quarantine-style videos that we wanted to do. We're going to be doing some top 10s based around Halo jumping on a wide variety of different topics. And, you know, different things related to Halo jumping. With me for this, we have the host of Spartan Sasuke himself, RPG445. How you doing,
guys?
Rog? How you doing?
Doing good.
Sweet. So, obviously, Rog is stepping in for us because Puma is unfortunately still absent. But Puma is still going to be involved. I've spoke to him and I have gotten his list for this first episode on what the top 10 is going to be based around. Remember, of course, this is all just our opinions. You know, these episodes are purely to bring up debates and get an idea of everyone's different opinions on what their top 10s would be. So, without further ado, let us talk about episode 1's top 10, which is the top 10 Halo jumpers of all time. We're going pretty big, Rog, for this first episode. Trying to pick 10.
Yeah.
I mean, just trying to get a list of all-time jumpers. Plenty of choices.
Yeah, across nearly 13 years of history.
God, it feels crazy to think that it's been going on for that long. But I have managed to narrow it down to 10, and I got Puma and Rog to come up with their own lists. Where we can debate, talk about it, and hopefully come to a mutually agreed decision on at least one of the top 10, whether that's the number 1 or the number 10. But in alphabetical order, guys, here is our 10 choices. Buddy Jumps, Could Be Better, DHG Fireball, Drago is Back, or obviously as he's known, Drago is Sick, Hunter Unit 751, Go
Yours
Tanks,
truly.
Re-95, Smoky Massacre, Double Ump, and the man himself, Alpha Puma. Some pretty big names in there, I have to say. Some pretty big names.
I think all 10 of them, you know, they've got strengths in their own ways, so we'll see who comes out on top.
Obviously, there's a few names on there that sadly missed out. I think it's probably fair to say that these 10 are probably overall the top 10 of all time, but there obviously are maybe a few there that you could say maybe could sneak in. I mean, people like, obviously I'm going to be a little biased here and say X Dome to Bomb X. You know, you could have
maybe even Strafe Helix.
Yeah, I mean, even some of the modern jumpers like Strafe. I'm sure Swan will be watching. I'll be saying, why am I not on this list?
Swan.
Swan, you were obviously considered as well. Even someone like, let's say, Jop, who obviously didn't have the longevity in any way, shape, or form, but is still a grand champion, did still get a total victory, and you can't take that away from him. Oh, and of course, how could I forget, obviously, the man himself, Snozberries. You know, sadly, just missed out on making the list, Snaz, I have to say. So, I think we will get going. So, Rog, let's start with your bottom 5. So, we'll go from just listing off from 10 to 6.
Alright, so my number 10, we're going to be starting with Could Be Better. Alright, my number 9 is Go Tanks. Then Puma at number 8. Number 7, Drago. And number 6, Re-95.
Okay. There's some interesting choice there, some interesting variety.
Could Be Better, you know, he's a well-rounded jumper. You know, he's been around for a long time. Even though he struggled a bit early on the Xbox One, I feel like on my course, and Aborigines Warrior especially, you know, he's really started to make a comeback. And I'm really looking forward to see what he has in store in the future.
Let's talk about Go Tanks at number 9. I think one of those competitors I would say that is just about earned to be on this list, but is is maybe in the peripheries because I think it's fair to say his biggest successes have been limited to one course.
Yeah, he's obviously been to 3 final stages on Smokies. I mean, he's definitely had success on your course too. You know, he's been to stage 3 multiple times. So,
Yep.
obviously can't take that away either.
So what do you think then? What puts Gotanks slightly higher than Phil, who's obviously at the bottom of your list? Because obviously Phil does have a total victory
Yes.
on abs.
I think just getting those 3 final stages, on Smokey, down back to back, he's such a strong competitor, even if he doesn't put in as much practice, I feel like he could still get far on the course.
Let's not talk about Puma for a second. Let's talk about Drago at number 7. Some might say a little bit low. I can understand why he's in 7th. But talk us through. I guess you haven't experienced as much of Drago compared to some jumpers.
That could be like one thing, Obviously, he's one of the best jumpers, on Reach and 4. But,
Yeah.
ever since then, I feel like he's kind of past his prime.
Yeah, even though he's still been around, not on the MCC, on Halo 5 a little bit.
Yeah, he competed in my most recent tournament.
Yes. Yeah, I think from looking at it from his Reach days, he was obviously one of the top competitors on Reach in Spartan Warrior and my course, and then he took that on into Halo 4 as well. I guess probably the thing for Drago is he just never really took that extra step.
Yeah. I mean, you could
maybe
probably see the start of the decline, even in the middle of Halo 4, some would debate.
I guess you're probably leaning more towards when Buddy got total victory is probably the sort of towards the moment you're thinking of.
He's had some early fails, on your course, probably went out, they were good results, but maybe he went out earlier than I think he was hoping for.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think although Drago was consistent on Halo 4, a lot of people will probably forget that actually he only got past the second obstacle of stage 3 once in any of the Halo 4 tournaments. And whilst that's not necessarily bad, I think it was during a point when a lot of other competitors like Smokey. Dom, Elite, even Ree,
yeah, they're really starting to show their true colors.
Yeah, they were progressing, whereas Drago was regressing almost. Yeah. And I think I don't hold it against him since then, because obviously he announced his retirement in the 360. We thought he was going to be gone. It's almost a joy just to see him back and being around on the courses, even though he obviously, his best days are behind him because he just doesn't have the time to practice, or he just doesn't practice as much as he used to. And I think obviously that shows in his results. I take it with a pinch of salt. I'm just glad to have him on the course, regardless of how he does. But it does look like he's taking a serious interest in Infinite, so hopefully we will see him back on several jump courses on
Should be
on
interesting
Infinite.
to see. Yeah, it should be interesting to see how he performs there as well, Could we see him, get back to stage 2, stage 3,
What's his head at with how much practice he's going to put in?
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Now, I'm guessing with Ree at number 6, this is more based down to, obviously, the fact that, obviously, your experience of anything prior to Halo 5 is obviously just based off of the videos or based off of stories that we've been told about, previous games, previous tournaments, previous competitors. I'm guessing that's probably the reason why Ree is a little lower on your list.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously I've had no interactions with Ree, but, other than that, even when he came back in Smokey's Tournament 19, he still performed really good. He got to stage 2. For me, I guess it was kind of a toss-up between Ree and Buddy for my number 5 spot. Ree's one of those guys, he was the first person to ever get a total victory on any sort of jumping course. You know, obviously can't take that away from him, but you know, even when he was past his prime, you know, he can put up, you know, good results even from being away, you know.
Yeah. I think we'll probably get into Rhea a little bit more based off of Puma's list. But with that in mind, here is Puma's 10 to 6. In 10th, he's got Gotenks. In 9th place, he's got himself, Alpha Puma. 8th, could be better. 7th is myself. 6th,
Only number 7.
and in 6th is Buddy Jumps. So the bottom 3, I think you've both picked the same 3 people, just in different orders.
Yeah, just slightly different order. Put Phil a little higher.
With Phil, he's probably looking at the longevity.
Yeah.
So you've got
Yeah,
Puma
you
at
can
number
truly
8.
say he's the Shingo jumping.
Yes, yeah, I think he probably has earned that title. So you've put Puma at number 8. He's put Puma has put himself at number 9. So let's talk about Puma. I think dedicated competitor, has had success, but maybe in a similar way to Drago, just couldn't quite take that extra step that he and a lot of other people would have wanted for him.
Yeah. You know, especially at the beginning of Halo 5, you know, he's had a bit of bad luck on this game. You know, when he was promoted to All-Star on my course, we did see a bit of a recession. You know, 11 tournaments afterwards, he only beaten Stage 1 twice, but I honestly feel like Puma's starting to make a bit of a comeback, you know, over the past year or so. You know, he's been getting to Stage 3s again, you know, able to perform well. You know,
Yeah.
I think we could see Puma performing well going into the future as well.
I guess it's a little difficult with my course because obviously the tournaments have regressed, like in the amount of tournaments that happen now. So from Puma's side, you know, he's only got the 6 appearances so far to base off of, but at the minute he is coming into his stride. He was obviously the only person to get to Stage 3 in 19. He got to Stage 3 again and got even further in 20. He has obviously come very close. I mean, there's a fair debate to be said that he was maybe the best competitor on MCC, on Smokey's course, or just in general as well. I mean, that could be a list that could be done in the future. The top 10 MCC competitors. Puma could have a case for being the number 1 in that.
Yeah, I remember watching those old MCC tournaments before I got into Halo jumping, you know, being inspired by Puma, you know, being able to perform well, get far. I think that's one of the main reasons I gave him such a high number in my first tournament.
I guess the big thing for him is that obviously he had ambitions. He wanted to get to a final stage. He still has a chance, you know. There are tournaments still to come. But he's just looking, he just is so determined to make that extra step, and it just hasn't happened for him yet. Let's talk about Buddy, number 6 on Puma's list. A competitor that wasn't really around much, but I think it's probably fair to say that when he was around and when he was determined, you know, to do well, he would almost all the time do well.
Buddy Jumps, you know, he's one of those guys, you know, when he shows up, you know, he's able to perform well based off raw talent, you know. He's one of those few jumpers that can do that, you know, perfectly. You know, you have other competitors like Saint the Legend, you know, who makes his own jump maps, but Buddy, on the other hand, I feel like he's able to use those skills, you know, and be able to get to the final stage, you know, consistently.
Yeah, I think it's probably something we don't touch on very often, but there is absolutely a big difference between being good at the ninja courses and just being good at Halo jumping in general. And people like Buddy, Sane, probably a few others as well, they are naturally good jumpers. Is probably the word to use. He is naturally
Yeah.
a good jumper, and he's able to take that into ninja courses. And I mean, what is it? 3 final
Yeah.
stages across 2 of the courses. He was
Yeah.
probably one of the most unexpected grand champions on any course.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at his early appearances, Smokey's Tournament 6, he got all the way to the spider flip on stage 3, and then the next tournament got total victory. I mean, that just shows just how much skill he truly has, even in his early days.
And as we said, obviously on Halo 5, obviously, I think he's only competed twice, hasn't he, on your course? But one of them,
Twice on mine, yes.
yeah, one of them, he was the first person ever to get to the final stage on Spartan Sasuke.
Yeah, even when he failed stage 1 in my tournament 4, he was only one of 8 to get through that brutal crooked wall.
Yeah. So yeah, I think when his head is screwed on, if that makes sense, and he goes into a tournament prepared, he can do well. Just simply on the basis that it comes to him so easily.
Yep.
Okay, so now let us go on to the top 5. So, Rog, hit me from 5 to 1, in that order, the names of your top 5.
Alright, so my number 5 is Buddy Jumps. Then number 4 we have Fireball, DHG Fireball. Number 3 is You, Hunter. Number 2 for me is Ump Double Ump. And number 1 is Smoky Massacre.
Okay, I think it's fair to say a lot of people probably saw some of these names coming. Obviously, Buddy, 5th on your list, so pretty close between you and Pumas. I'll just quickly run through Pumas and then we'll just compare from there. Number 5 on Puma's list is Drago is Sick. Number 4, Ump Double Ump. Number 3, DHG Fireball. Number 2, Smoky Massacre. And number 1, Re95. So a little bit of variety and also a little bit of similarities in certain places. Obviously, a bit of a difference between both number 1s, but we'll get onto them in a minute. So you put me at number 4. Puma's put me at number 7.
Number 3, actually.
Oh, you put me at number 3. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm very interested to see why he put you that low.
I guess what he said to me was great streaks, great records, consistent success on both Smokey and Rog's course. He didn't say anything else, so I guess looking at the names above me, the only person that doesn't have a total victory that's above me is Drago. Everyone else above me has a total victory, so I guess he's kind of basing it off of that. There have been times, maybe not so much on Smokey's course, because I feel like I have done almost everything I possibly could do on Smokey's, except win. I think there have been times on your course when I've competed where I could have done better, I could have had more stage 3s. I think it's just it's down to consistency. I think is probably the basis of Puma's list. But you, on the other hand, you obviously put me at number 3. So talk me through your thoughts on that.
I mean, obviously you have your huge streak, 19 stage 1 clears in a row. I mean, you can't really compare that to anyone else. I mean, it's unprecedented that you're able to not only compete 19 times in a row, but clear stage 1 that many times. I highly doubt we're going to see anything like that ever again come the future.
I'll never say never, because records are made to be broken, but it is a streak that is unheard of in Halo jumping, and I feel unbelievably proud that when I started the course, Smokey's course, I just wanted to do another person's course because I'd spent so long being a host. I'd spent so long being a host that I'd almost, in a way, didn't know what it felt like to be a competitor, taking it seriously. So to have gone from that to end up with such an incredible streak is just, incredibly humbling, I think, is the way I look at it now. I suppose this links in quite nicely because one of the people that was there to see that fail was obviously Fireball, and Fireball obviously went on to achieve total victory in that tournament, which was probably the only thing that could have turned that tournament into a positive, and that's what Fireball did. You've got him at number 4 on the list. I think
Yeah,
we must put him at number 3. So pretty similar.
so yeah, pretty close.
Talk me through Fireball.
I feel like obviously he doesn't have the longevity as some of the other people on the list, like Ree and Drago, for example. But when Fireball came around the scene in late Halo 4, he was another one of those guys that seemed talented right off the bat, and he was able to prove that, and able to continue it onto Halo 5. And, he's one of those very rare exceptions of competitors that have yet to see kind of a recession. He's been able to perform consistently over time and be able to get to stage 3, stage 4, and whatnot.
Yeah, he's got so he's got one final stage on your course. Obviously,
Yep.
the final stage on Smokey's where he achieved total victory. I guess it's like you say, because he's one of the quote unquote new generation of jumpers. Because of that, he's in a similar bracket to Puma in that he's only so far appeared in 5 tournaments on my course. There's a fair case to be made for Fireball that you could say, with Halo 5 coming to an end, he is probably he is up there for potentially being the best jumper that's currently around right now. All right, so let's talk about Puma's got him at number 4. You've got him up at number 2. What could be said? The longest serving jumper, still
Ever.
around, still been going.
Still around.
How many years? It's been 11 years or something.
Yeah, since early '09, I think.
Yeah, so almost coming up to 12 years. Stage 3s on 4 of the major courses, and obviously hosts the other one, the 5th one.
Yep.
Final stage on Smokies. 4 final stages, I think, on your course. Am I right in saying?
Yep. 4 final stages.
The only person to get to a final stage 4 times on any jump course. Obviously, Gotenks has got 3 on Smokies. And I think it's fair to say that probably the reason why Ump has got himself so high, he deserves to be as high as he is for his consistency, because he's always on any course, on any game, been able to put in performances to get to stage 2s, stage 3s. Stage 3s on my course on Reach, and then he's done it on my course on Halo 4. Probably his weakest point was Halo 4 on Smokey's course. Obviously, established himself as probably the best competitor currently on your course, with him being the number 1000.
Yep. One interesting thing I want to bring up about Ump on my course, prior to Tournament 19, he's never finished below 7th. He's gotten 7th in at least every tournament going into 19.
Wow, that is pretty impressive. The thing that has elevated Ump to the next level, and probably is the reason why he is number 2 on your list, and obviously, still pretty high on Puma's list, and probably the reason why he'd be high on anyone's list, is because on Halo 5 he has managed to take it to the next level. He's managed to get to final stages, and of course, ultimately, get a total victory. And has come very close to doing it again a couple more times on your course, which I believe leaves us with Smokey, number 1 on your list, number 2 on Puma's list. Talk me through Smokey. What is it that puts Smokey above Ump for you on your list?
What can be said, Smokey, that hasn't been said already? I think, it's a toss-up. For me, it's a toss-up between Ump and Smokey, but, Smokey, he's just one of those guys. Obviously he's the host of one of the biggest courses ever, and he's Probably one of the best competitors ever. Probably will be to come. He's the only competitor currently that could say they've achieved total victory more than once on any course. Once on yours, twice on mine. You know,
Yep.
that's hard to beat.
And of course, his story, which is probably a lot different to others, is that he actually started off as a very poor competitor, or a very average competitor on
On
my
reach.
Halo Reach course. You'd probably, if someone
Yep.
watching, if someone getting into Halo jumping, watching the videos, started from the beginning and was watching through Halo Reach, you'd probably think, okay, Smokey cleared stage 1 in tournament 6, but apart from that, just seemed to struggle. He was just kind of one of those guys that was
Yeah.
there who had maybe
Kind of like
had the
Irish.
ability. Yeah, yeah, maybe kind of like Irish. He had the ability. I bet Irish will love that he's being compared to Smokey. Um, he has had the ability, but maybe needed that little bit of luck to be able to get through a stage 1. And then I
Yeah.
think, you know what it is, honestly? I think it's when he started hosting his own course, practicing his own obstacles, he really honed his abilities. I mean, I could just hit with some stats. 7 stage 3s in a row, easily a record. I think the next best is, I think, 4. 8 stage 1 clears in a row from tournaments 11 through to 18. Been to the final stage twice, one of only 2 people to do that. 5 first place finishes, not the most, but considering all 5 of them have come in the last 8 tournaments, he is, I think it's fair to say, the number one
Currently
competitor
the best competitor.
on my course. And as we say with Fireball, there's a case to be made for Fireball, there's a case to be made for Ump. Probably, arguably, Smokey has the best case for being considered the number one competitor out there going into Infinite.
Yep. I definitely agree with that statement.
Which leaves us with Puma's number one, which is Re95.
Yeah.
Obviously, sixth on your list. We've obviously talked about why that is. You obviously don't have the experience of knowing what Re was like back in the day. To be fair, Puma only had brief experiences with him, but I mean, I can speak for Puma when I
Right.
say, and I'm sure a couple of other people will know the same thing. On his day, Ree was probably up there, but he was probably the original Puma, if that makes sense. He took his dedication and took his love for Ninja Warrior and Halo jumping, and he just worked on it with it practice, practice, practice to make it not just to necessarily be good at the courses, but just to make himself a good jumper. Obviously, it's difficult to compare because he's never been on your course. He's only been on Smokey's course 3 times, and his success
Yeah.
is almost completely been limited to just my course. But some of the
Yeah.
stats, 10 stage 1 clears on my course, which is tied with the second most. I think Drago is number 1 with 11. 10 stage 2 clears, which is easily a record and has obviously a 100% clear rate on stage 2. 6 first place finishes on my course, which again is a record. Like Smokey, one of only 2 people to get to the final stage twice. And you mentioned about Ump in finishing in the top 7 in every tournament apart from the most recent one.
Yep.
In his 14 appearances, finished in the top 5 13 times out of his 14 appearances.
Wow.
His lowest
Even
finish
with some of those
was
stage 1 fails.
yes, his lowest finish was 7th as well. That was in tournament 10. His earliest fail was the 5th obstacle on stage 1. Just a consistent rock. And I guess it is really a case of different eras. I know if Ump watching will probably make a fair case for why he could pick Ree as his number 1, because back in the day he was one of the he was probably the number 1 guy because he made himself the number 1 guy. But obviously it's a generation thing, and as I said at the beginning, this is all about debate, guys. This is all about getting different people's opinions on why they have the lists the way they do, based on the experiences that they know. So just to finish off and to recap for the audience so that they don't have to watch the whole video again, Rog, hit us with your names and your full list from starting from 10 up to number 1.
Alright, so beginning number 10, Could Be Better, aka Phil. Number 9, Dotates. Number 8, Alpha Puma. Number 7, Drago. Number 6, Re95. Number 5, Buddy Jumps. Number 4, DHG Fireball. Number 3, Hunter. Number 2, Ump Double Ump. And number 1, Smoky Massacre.
Okay, and Puma's list from 10 to 1. At number 10, Go Tanks. Number 9, Alpha Puma. Number 8, Could Be Better. Number 7, Hunt Unit 751. Number 6, Buddy Jumps. Number 5, Drago is Sick. Number 4, Ump Double Ump. Number 3, DHG Fireball. Number 2, Smoky Massacre. And at number 1, Re95. That brings us to the end, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed this top 10. Rog, I hope you've enjoyed this first episode. Hopefully,
certainly.
Hopefully
Pleasure
we'll get a few more.
Having myself here with you.
Yeah, in this lovely library as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get a few more coming out to you guys very soon. As I said, if you guys have enjoyed this, leave us your lists of what your top 10 would be, whether that's based on the 10 names that we gave you at the beginning, or if you think there's someone else that deserves to be in the top 10. Leave us your lists in the comments below. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and we will be back again very soon for another Halo Jumping Top 10. Until then, guys, we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
If you guys enjoyed this video, then leave us a like, and if you want to see more, then leave a comment down below, maybe with a suggestion for a future top 10. I've got a long list of potential top 10 ideas, but if you've got one, let us know in the comments down below. If you want to appear in a future episode as the guest, again, let me know in the comments down below. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you again soon, hopefully, for another top 10.